Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Another quick game of interplanetary I Spy going on here. Back on Mars, back in Kale Crater. Update on the Mars Sphinx. Now, this is a quick overview of some of the different viewpoints of the Sphinx, taken over different sols, even on different years, by the Curiosity Rover as it traversed along the bottom of the lake bed at Mount Sharp. So the story's also made it into the press. The Daily Mail here, it's also in the Daily Star, and it's also in the Daily Express, and I'm sure it will be copied and pasted into many other newspaper outlets and online news sites. I will put links to these below in the description, as I will with the image links as well, so you can check them all out on the Gigapan, because this thing does appear in multiple sols. This is one of the clearest ones, 620. And you can see here it's a complete side view, and you can tell that that is joined. You can tell that the head is actually joined to this structure here, and you can see this rather dark thing here quite well, and a rather straight structure at the back here. Now, of course, this is probably heavily eroded. It may be millions of years old, it may not be, it may only be thousands of years old. I'm guessing it may have been built around the same time as the Great Sphinx in Egypt at Cairo, and may have even been built or designed by the same people. Who knows? Don't rule anything out when it comes to Mars. We are still only touching the tip of the iceberg here. So I'm going to show you very quickly the other angles I've got here. Now, this is the one I showed in part one, the original video, and you can see that this has been enhanced. I've played with the contrast on this. You can see this door-like structure at the front here, which I think may be an entrance to it, or perhaps something next to it. Now, on this angle, we're seeing the Sphinx almost from the front here at a slight angle, so it's almost looking towards us, but not quite. We can only see one eye and the nose and the mouth, but this is an angle. This is a sort of 30-degree angle or something like that, so this is not completely side on, but that is probably the best view you'll get of it. It does show in lots of other sols. That was 654. It's also in 571 here, but it's very small and much further away because the camera isn't zoomed in, so it's a bit blurry. But it's definitely there. It's also 647 here. It's also much further away and a bit blurry, but it's definitely there. And you can see what looks like hair coming down, or some kind of structure coming down here, off the top of the head and the back coming down. That may well be carved hair or a mane of some sort. You can also see it here in 468, but this is taken also from much further away and is a much lower quality image. But this is the back of the Sphinx. This is the back end, and it looks like there's some kind of straight structure on the back here with blocks or something. So, but this is a heavily pixelated image, so there's not much to be gained from that one. So there's at least 5 or 6 sols that this appears in, but the best one is 620. And here's the clip from 620 that I just showed you on the Gigapan, and you can see that straight structure on the back there, but which we can see from the other angle. So not really sure what that is, but there's probably heavily eroded, and some of the rocks or stone blocks may have come away, and showing some of the inner structure or something like that. Who knows? But the face detail isn't so good on this one. You can see more of an ear here, or what could be construed as an ear. And there is something hanging down here, it seems. So this may well be hair, or carved braided hair or something like that, much like you would see on some of the ancient Babylonian sphinxes. Not so much like the Sphinx we see in Egypt, but that is not the only Sphinx. And in fact, there are different styles of Sphinx, going back even further than the Egyptian civilization. And in many cultures around the world, not only in India and Egypt, North Africa, but also you've got in Persia and all over the world. So sphinxes were part of ancient sort of culture across the world, it seems. So there we go. I mean, there's lots of different angles on this thing, so it's definitely there. The question is, how old is it, and who carved it? This does show that there was most likely a highly intelligent civilization living on Mars in the past, and there may even be remnants of that civilization underground on Mars now. It's pretty unhospitable on the surface, gets very cold, there's not much water, but I'm sure there's plenty of it underground. And any civilization wanting to survive the cataclysm that happened there must have gone underground a long time ago. It may turn out that this is just a glimpse of what's to come, and there may be many more similar structures and statues and more pyramids, for instance, to come in the images over the next coming years. More rovers are going to be sent there. Whether they'll be sent to Gale Crater again, I doubt it, but Gale Crater, as I've said before, is part, or may have been a capital of an ancient civilization with a port and the huge pyramids and stuff up on Mount Sharp, as I've shown in my other videos. So it does look like they had a really advanced civilization on Mars, and this is evidence of it. Okay. So as I said, yes, I will have clips of these all in at the end of the video, and I'll put the clips in as well from the part 1, so you can compare them back to back and see what detail you can pick out, because obviously the different angles show the same thing as we got here, but there's a lot more detail to be had in this one because it's much closer than this one. Even though this one is good, it's kind of facing away from us slightly and we can't see so much facial detail, but there is some detail here, and you can see the back of the head much more clearly here. So there's detail there, and that black or dark object, which may be an entrance, does look more like it's joined to this structure now from this angle. So there is detail to be gained from these, and even though some of these are much further back, you can still make out that there's something here hanging down. You can still make out that door-like structure, and you can even see the face. Even though it's heavily pixelated here, it does show still fairly clearly, even though that's about a mile away at least, with less level of zoom. So there we go, folks. A sphinx is a sphinx. There are lots of people online slagging this off, saying it's pareidolia, faces in the cloud, the usual nonsense we get from idiots who've never done any research. They're just following the party line. I don't know who these people are, what their motives are, but they're deliberately trying to scupper this kind of research for some reason. They may have religious reasons for that, I don't know. But try and ignore them, I do. I often ban them from my page on YouTube, because they basically are trolls and childish at that. So there we go, guys. It shows it in multiple images from multiple angles. It's a sphinx. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.